Ways to ask, are you married? In informal English. Are you hitched? Do you have a spouse? Are you taken? Are you spoken for? Are you wearing a ring? Do you have a partner? Are you off the market? Are you in a relationship? Do you have a husband/wife? Are you someone's better half? Ways to ask, do you speak English? In an informal English. Can you talk in English? Do you understand English? Are you familiar with English? Do you know how to speak English? Are you able to communicate in English? Are you an English speaker? Can you converse in English? Do you use English as a language? Are you fluent in English? Do you have a grasp of English? Ways to ask, have you been there? In an informal English. Have you ever been there? Have you visited that place? Have you checked it out? Have you gone there before? Have you seen that spot? Have you been to that location? Have you experienced it? Have you been over there? Have you been to that place yet? Have you ever been there before? In informal English, there are several ways to ask, how did you come? Here are a few colloquial options for Home Sweet Land YouTube family. How'd you get here? How'd you arrive? How'd you make it here? How'd you manage to come? How'd you make your way over? How'd you end up here? How'd you find your way here? How'd you get yourself here? Ways to ask, how have you been? In an informal English. How have you been doing? How's it been going? How have things been for you? How have you been lately? How's life treating you? How have you been holding up? What have you been up to? How have you been feeling? How's your situation been? How's everything been with you? Ways to ask, may I introduce myself? In an informal English. Can I introduce myself? Is it all right if I introduce myself? Mind if I introduce myself? Do you mind me introducing myself? Can I give you a brief introduction about myself? Is it okay for me to introduce myself? Would you like me to introduce myself? Is this a good time for me to introduce myself? Shall I go ahead and introduce myself? Would you be open to me introducing myself? Ways to ask, when will you leave? In informal English for Home Sweet Land family. When are you taking off? When do you plan to split? When's your departure time? When's your exit? When are you hitting the road? When are you making tracks? When are you peacing out? When do you intend to bounce? When's your leaving time? When are you jetting off? Ways to ask, why did you go on foot? In an informal English. Why did you decide to walk there? What made you go on foot? Why did you choose to travel by walking? What was the reason for going on foot? Why did you opt for walking? What did you go on foot? Why did you prefer going on foot? What's the story behind walking instead? Why did you pick walking as your mode of transport? What led to your decision to go on foot? Ways to say I am looking for a job in an informal English. I'm on the hunt for a job. I'm in search of a job. I'm on the job market. I'm seeking employment. I'm looking to land a job. I'm exploring job opportunities. I'm trying to find a job. I'm on the lookout for a job. I'm aiming to secure a job. Ways to say let me think a little about it in an informal English. Let me mull it over for a bit. Give me a moment to ponder. I need to marinate on this a bit. I'll need a minute to think about it. Let me chew on that for a while. I'll take a moment to reflect on it. Let me wrap my head around it. I need to let it sink in a bit. Let me take a step back and think. Give me a sec to process and consider.